My name is Kerrie, and my goal is to inspire healing and meaning in all areas of life. In this podcast, we will dive deep into conversations. From heartbreak to freedom, we will explore different self-care modalities, learn to be the best expressions of ourselves, and to live with purpose. I'm here to offer my personal insights and to share my story in hopes that it will guide you on your path. This is Heal with Care, a journey of self-discovery. Is anyone else really hard on themselves? The past couple of months, I've been noticing that I have been very hard on myself. But this week, I've been receiving so many messages around self-compassion that I felt inspired to record this podcast episode. I remember the first time someone introduced me to the idea of compassion. I was in my early 20s, working a job where one of my coworkers was a Buddhist who often shared random philosophies about life with me. They were much older than I was, and I would listen, absorbing everything that they said. One day, I was having a bad day, frustrated with a situation. I walked into my coworker's office for some advice, and they started to talk to me about compassion. I never spoke about my emotions at home or expressed them that much, so the idea of compassion felt so foreign to me. However, I remember after that conversation, I walked away with a new outlook on life, a perspective where I could put myself in someone else's shoes and see from their point of view. It was no longer just about me, it became about understanding somebody else. Compassion means having empathy and understanding for another person's experience. Now that we understand about compassion, what about self-compassion? Self-compassion is taking the concept of compassion and directing it inwards to yourself. It means having empathy and understanding for yourself, especially during challenging times. It's about treating yourself with kindness and gentleness, just as you would a close friend. If you think about it, every waking moment, we are alone with our thoughts. Our minds are constantly at work. We think, we reflect, we talk to ourselves, and sometimes we criticize ourselves. Depending on the situation, we may end up beating ourselves up over the smallest things. But it's part of our human experience. Now imagine your very good friend is struggling and having a very difficult time. How would you talk to them? Would you beat them up and make them feel worse than they are already feeling? Or would you be that friend who picks them up, speaks to them gently, and says something uplifting to make them feel better? When I catch myself being overly critical or harsh, I pause, I take a step back, and I ask myself, would I speak to my best friend this way? And in these moments, I remind myself to accept the situation for what it is, acknowledge that I did the best that I could, and recognize that my best is enough. We all have a unique way of talking to ourselves, and over time, I've really had to work on my relationship with myself. It's a very intimate connection only I know about. And becoming aware of your thoughts and how you speak to yourself is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. And it will help you on your journey to self-compassion. At the end of the day, no one can save you from yourself except for you. Having self-compassion can give you the grace to make mistakes in life. It can remind you that you're human, and it can recognize that every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. I am usually hard on myself when I make a mistake or certain things don't work out the way that I plan. Part of me feels this is just who I am, while another part of me believes that it is shaped from the experiences that I've had throughout my life. Sometimes the world outside of our little bubble can be very hurtful, and putting yourself out there can be very scary, especially once you've experienced and felt rejection. This can be really difficult for some of us to process, navigate, and move forward with. At every stage of my life, I know I will be faced with new situations and challenges. And each time I'm having a moment of struggle, I will try to see things from a different perspective and look at the potential life lessons that I need to learn. I also remind myself that it's part of the human experience to experience all of life's ups and downs. Recently, my mom sent me a photo from my childhood when I was a young teen, and seeing these photos brought back so much memories. At the time, I didn't enjoy being in front of the camera. I would often hide, thinking I wasn't worthy of being in the pictures. My sisters, on the other hand, were smiling, and when I looked at myself, I can see this uncomfortable expression, like I was wishing not to be captured at all. But as I was looking at it, I was so grateful for my dad, who made sure to capture every moment of my life, whether I liked it or not. There were points in my life where I resisted wanting to create memories of myself, but back at it now, more than 20 years ago, I can see how much I struggled to like myself back then. I didn't have any compassion for myself at all. If I can go back and teach my younger self about self-compassion, I would tell her that she is perfect just the way that she was. I'd encourage her to brighten her smile and to see her own worth, and to embrace herself with confidence. Recently, someone commented on how I speak on my podcast, pointing out some of the words that I use often. I really took this to heart and I internalized this, which made me more self-conscious. Speaking publicly is already a challenge for me, and after hearing this, I started to second guess my choices. Then I paused and I asked myself, can I have self-compassion for my imperfections? I'm human and I did my best to communicate my message. For me, that is enough. As much as I'd love to be the picture-perfect human representing myself, the truth is I'm not perfect. I'm flawed in so many ways. But do I let those flaws define me, or do I rise above them? My imperfections is what inspired my podcast, to share my evolution as I fumble through life, picking myself up each time as I move forward. Life doesn't come with a manual. There's no right or wrong way to live. There are only opinions, and we all have them. We can voice them, listen to them, and reflect on them. But ultimately, it's up to each of us to decide what to take and what to let go of. Having that discernment and knowing what aligns with you and what doesn't helps you to embrace who you truly are and to live in your purpose. Living your purpose means honoring every part of yourself, flaws and all. It won't look the same as anyone else's path. It will be uniquely yours, and that's the beauty of it. There have been moments as a kid, I remember spilling a cup of milk, dropping a plate, or slipping and falling on the floor and crying over it. What I didn't know was that it was just an accident and these things will happen. Either way, I will have to pick myself up and carry on. I was young and I didn't understand that I would encounter so many more situations similar to these, but in different areas of my life. I remember at one point in my career, I was told that my work was no longer creditable. I had worked so hard every day. I showed up to work with very little support, only to feel like my work was not good enough. I had made one mistake, and to my manager, it was the end of the world. In a fast-paced environment where everything is urgent and we're expected to juggle multiple projects at once, this was not acceptable. That shattered my confidence, but this experience, I learned I do not thrive in those types of environments. I had to remind myself that I had done the best that I could that day, and I'm proud of for all the work and effort that I had put in. I learned that from that moment on that I need to double check my work, even in rush situations. I've witnessed many mediumship readings over the years where people just wished for more time with their loved ones. It reminds me what truly matters. Instead of wasting energy on small, insignificant things in life, I want to focus on spending meaningful time with people I care about. Life is too short to dwell on the little things when there's so much more out there to cherish. As I say this feels like I'm channeling this inspired message. Sometimes we get so caught up in what's not working, we don't see what's right in front of us. Over time, I've been able to slowly heal parts of me and embrace my imperfections and understand that it's part of my journey. When I think about my partner, he doesn't see himself as perfect. But when I look at him, he's as perfect as I could ever imagine. He doesn't see what I see, but in my eyes, he is the perfect, imperfect person. So, today, let's give ourselves some compassion and remember that our best is good enough. There is always someone out there who sees that light in you that you can't see in yourself. So see yourself through that person's eyes. Before I wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Be your own best friend. Treat yourself with the same kindness, patience, and understanding that you would offer someone you love. And when you make a mistake, instead of overly criticizing yourself, ask what you would say to a friend in this situation. By being kind to yourself, you create a foundation of self-compassion that helps you to move through life's challenges with more ease. Remember, you're worthy of love, kindness, and forgiveness, especially from yourself. So embrace your imperfections, and with each step, know that you're doing the best you can. You are enough just by being you. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you found this episode insightful. If you feel called to, please share this podcast, subscribe to it, and leave a rating and review. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can email me at healwithcare@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at healwithcare. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.